and the dire problems confronting Nigeria is such that my worry is that the president we need in 2023 is not just about the competence of the president, it's not just about the capabilities of that president. It is more of the trust of Nigerians. Nigerians must trust this new president that he is here to work for Nigerians, because the decisions he needs to take will require the support of the Nigerian people. And I'll give you a particular example. If you look at today, the government has 3 subsidies that I can see clearly. Number one is the fuel subsidy, which they said will cost 4 trillion to fund the fuel subsidy. Fuel is about 165 naira in Nigeria and about 600 naira in our neighboring countries. So if you just take 1 trailer of fuel from Nigeria and cross it to the border, you make 4 times the money you invested in buying the fuel. So there is a racket going on, and there is a subsidy going on to the West African states, and also a subsidy that has not been translated to the poor people in Nigeria. But so a gradual discussion of reducing that arbitrage, of reducing that subsidy, will require that the Nigerians trust that the extra money coming will actually go into things that will help the poor, into the educational sector, into the health sector. Nigerians spent about almost $40 billion in the last 10 years for foreign education and foreign medical services. So if you look at 40 billion and at average of maybe 4 billion a year, or even if you say 3 billion a year, dollars a year, then you will begin to see why there is an urgent need for us to improve health infrastructure in Nigeria and to build schools that can retain Nigerians in Nigeria. So that is an urgent need that a president needs to do. The second subsidy is the foreign exchange subsidy. So the government gives out foreign exchange at 414 from the CBN, and in the I&E window, in the trading market, it is about 415 officially, but most people pay about 540, 550. The central bank knows this, that nobody who is an exporter sells his dollar for 415. They all sell at about 550. Now, what it means is that the one that is going from the central bank, people get it at 414 naira, and when the goods come into Nigeria, they sell the goods priced at 590 naira, which is the going rate of the black market. So there is already about 150, 170 naira subsidy to every importer who gets a foreign exchange from the government. So we need to reduce that arbitrage, because that's what Nigerians use to fly. That's what we use to fund our personal travel allowance. That's what we use to fund school fees for our children. So we need to begin to remove that subsidy. Again, it will require the confidence and trust of Nigerians. The third big subsidy is on the electricity in Nigeria, the discos. So when we look at electricity in Nigeria, the government is throwing in about 2 trillion of subsidy in the electricity sector. Electricity, we have to redefine electricity. It is not a social good, it's a capital good. As we speak now, I have no power in the house because we have shortages of power. We need to unlock that power sector, and we need to do away with these subsidies. Now, how to do away with these 3 subsidies, which if you put together 4 billion, 4.5, is topping almost about 8 to 9, 10 trillion naira of subsidies. It will require that Nigerians will trust that that president is an honest broker, that that president is frugal enough, is honest enough to put these resources with his team to the benefit of Nigerians. Because while we're going to have high cost of fuel, we must provide cheap transportation for the masses. So, and cheap transportation is not the same thing as cheap fuel. But this communication needs to happen. The final communication is that we need a president that has to explain the dilemma of the Fulani headsmen to Nigeria. The Fulani headsmen today are in a bind. There is the very simple issue of herding of cattle and supply of protein to the south, which is what the Fulani headsmen are doing. It's part of our national food security. Now, how do we transition their business from the open grazing strategy they've used over the years, a new ranching solution? Now, it will require a president with the confidence of Nigerians that this is not a land grab, that this is not a Fulani acquisition of land, which it is not in my view. It is simply a business, because at the end of the day, the Fulanis want to sell their cattle. They are not in love with the cattle for the purpose of cattle. They want to sell it, and they do sell it. So we need to figure out a way how to manage this forces that are tearing Nigeria apart. And we need a president who Nigerians will trust, that the solutions to these problems I've listed can be done together with Nigerians.